Hello and welcome to PC Mag's One Cool Thing. I'm Matthew Buzzy. With me is Tom Brandt, and with us is the ThinkBook Plus Gen 2. Cutting right to the chase, this is a laptop that has an Eink display on the lid. I mean, that's pretty cool. That's pretty noteworthy. It is, of course, Gen 2 in the title. That does not mean that this is the first time this exists, but it is the updated version of it. So, Tom, what does that lid do? What is it? Tell us about it.
So yeah, you are looking at this giant e-ink screen, but actually behind it, this is actually glued on to the back of a traditional clamshell laptop that you will see as I open it here. This is a Lenovo ThinkBook Plus from Lenovo's small business line of laptops. It's one rung down from the ThinkPad, but they've done some clever engineering by basically adding a second e-ink display to the back of the laptop lid. This has been around for about 2 years, and we're just now seeing the Gen 2 version, which definitely has some improvements to the laptop part. But as we'll get into in a bit, the e-ink part does definitely have some room for further improvement.
Yeah, e-ink as a technology, it's been around, it's been used on other things. Putting on a laptop lid, not the most common use for it. So yeah, what kind of functionality does it have? I mean, it's eye-catching, but what does it actually do for you? And what you mentioned the problems with it. What exactly could use improvement?
Okay, yeah. So first things first, the e-ink screen is really only can be used when you have the laptop closed. This is not one of those like convertible laptops that you can rotate the screen all the way around. It's a conventional clamshell. And so what you're really intending to do with the e-ink is use it like this, like a tablet. So you can't open it all the way around and use the keyboard with it or anything like you can with one of Lenovo's other futuristic e-ink, the Yoga e-ink version. This is just a traditional laptop with an e-ink screen on the back. And the functionality is the potential for the functionality is there. Obviously, this is not what you want to do. I mean, it's a big device. It's way bigger than your average Kindle. You're not going to be reading books on this thing. But if you've got if you've got a manuscript or you've got, maybe you're in a conference room in a meeting, you could use the e-ink screen to keep track of, basic things that you've got without being distracted by everything that's going on in the Windows world in the main version of the laptop.
Sure. So a bit of utility, maybe not more useful than just opening the laptop up in a lot of cases and using it or, rotating it using the touchscreen.
Right.
Yeah. So kind of a bit of a novelty, it sounds like. Are there any other, before we move on to the fact that this is an actual laptop, anything else you want to talk about the e-ink display? Is there, what's like the coolest thing you actually did use it for? Or what do you think is interesting about it?
Well, yeah. So the reason that I say that there's room for improvement there is that it is a really cool situation. There is no other device like this. But what I can't help but think is that they missed an opportunity here to make this seamless. So, for example, when you close this, nothing really happens other than this thing pops up and says, your computer will sleep soon. Do you want to use the e-ink screen? And then you press yes, and you get into the custom e-ink interface, which does have some pretty, it's basic, but good functionality here. You've got you've got notes, you've got a e-ink reader, which I did not use, and then you've got a drawing board. The drawing board actually works well with the included stylus, which pops out from the side, and then you can, create doodles as you would on the main screen, things like that. But again, I mean, there's lots of different quirks to be worked out. For example, when you tap on that, then it lets you know that in order to use this as an e-ink drawing board, you actually have to connect an external display to the laptop. This really functions as the tablet portion, the drawing portion, and then you view your creation on an external monitor. That isn't something that the average consumer, if you're looking at this as a gift or a cool cutting edge product, would necessarily want to do.
Right. My first thought was like, oh, cool. So it's actually a better quick note-taking device in a meeting or something, but not if you need to connect it to a monitor.
Right, exactly. And the notes functionality doesn't require an external monitor, but then again, you've got any Windows laptop with a touchscreen, you can easily draw on the screen and take notes. Yeah. So it's that's why I say there's a lot of room for improvement there. But those are just 2 or 3 of the functions that I was presented with right off the bat while I was reviewing it.
Got it. So like a lot of these kind of unique designs that are coming out, a lot of the 2-screen designs, both in phones and laptops, a lot of the part that lets us down is the software, which has to kind of adapt and get up to speed to work properly for what has been single screen operating systems for a long time. So a little understandable that it's not exactly seamless or bug free at this point. But yeah, I could see the kinks there, but I could also see the appeal if it was a little more seamless. So you mentioned it is kind of otherwise just a pretty good business laptop. If you open it up and show it to us, and more importantly for business users, what components are we working with? What it was that got inside?
Indeed. So this ThinkBook Plus is similar to many other ThinkBook laptops. Lenovo sells quite a few. These are, like I said, positioned right below the ThinkPad. So you're not going to be spending, the $2,000 plus that you might on a well-equipped ThinkPad X1 Carbon. The ThinkBook Plus that we've got here, and really this is the main configuration that they're selling in the US right now, costs $1,500. And for that, you get, in addition to all the Eink whiz bang, you get a Core i7, 512 gigabytes of storage, and an Iris Xe graphics chip. So this is very run-of-the-mill for a productivity-oriented business laptop. And that $1,500 price point is kind of high. I would expect a ThinkBook to be in the $1,000 range without the Eink screen. So you are paying a premium for that that special back there.
Yeah, because normally if you're going to pay up for a high-end business laptop like that, it's for the components. Really, you're getting some solid juice. How have you tested this? Has it performed all right? Battery life?
So we actually haven't finished testing yet. The review will be on PCBag.com as soon as we have. But what I want to say about, so I don't really have anything to share performance-wise, although I can't expect that it will be either horrible or great.
We've seen these components, yeah.
Right.
This looks like a pretty standard mid-range sort of okay configuration.
Right. So if you're reading this in the review, then keep reading. Or I'm sorry, if you're viewing this video in the review, then keep reading. You'll see all the performance specs. But the main thing I want to note about this is it's very portable. It's not as portable as obviously as a Kindle, as an e-reader, but I mean, this thing is incredibly light. It doesn't weigh, it certainly weighs under 3 pounds. You can easily carry this around with you. It's got excellent, construction quality that we have come to expect from Lenovo in general, and the business the ThinkPad and the ThinkBook share similarities there. It's got that scalloped keyboard. The touchpad is responsive. The screen looks good. It's a bit dim, but the screen looks good. So I mean, if you buy it, don't like the Eink display, you still got an excellent business laptop.
Sure. And it's a 13.3-inch display, the main display, and then the E-Ink is 12 inches, right? And it's a 2560 by 1600 resolution, I believe,
yes,
on the main display. So I mean, a pretty good display.
Portable. And you've got the trademark Lenovo notch here for the webcam, which they debuted a few years ago. It's different than Apple's notch, which goes down, so you don't lose any screen real estate, but it does pop up a bit here, so you can get that webcam. But the name of the game here is space savings.
Sure. Yeah. Still enough of a large display at those sizes, considering how portable it is, as you mentioned. So, pretty good combo. And of course, obviously, double the screen real estate, even though the other one might not be quite as functional as the main display. Anything other cool facet that's hidden there that you didn't mention, or the port selection is good for a business laptop? How does the keyboard feel?
Port selection is actually not good for a business laptop. I'm glad you asked that. There are just 2 USB ports and a power button on the other side. That's it, and a headphone jack. This is the name of the game here is portability. Don't expect to plug this into your ThinkPad docking station unless you have one of the newer ones that's Thunderbolt or USB-C. This does skimp in the port department. But other than that, it has all the other business features like the Lenovo software. It doesn't have business features in terms of like vPro or things like that, but it's got everything on the Lenovo side that you would expect.
Gotcha. So that slimness, that portability comes at the cost a little bit of some port options. This is more like an ultra portable than a high-end workstation, mobile workstation, but it does look nice and thin. I think that's it then for this device. Thank you for showing it to us, Tom. The full review is on the way, including, as he mentioned, benchmark results and testing and battery life and all that good stuff. You can see how the Eink display functions and get more details on that. Thank you so much for your time, and thanks for reading and watching.